welcome back to another episode of the GorillaBiker. Today what we're going to do is swap out the battery on the Magna to a nice new one, which I got in Lee Honda in Little Island. The reason I'm doing that is about 2 weeks ago I brought this bike for around about a 800 kilometer spin, and when I stopped to get petrol at one point it didn't start, so I had to actually run with the bike and jump onto it and, you know, jump start it essentially, which isn't easy with this. It's about 240 kilos, it's a heavy bike, and it was loaded up with all my gear, so that was interesting and I looked silly, so we're going to try avoid doing that again. So first and foremost what we're going to do is just take the seats off. All you need to take the seat off is a size 8 Allen and a 12 socket. We're going to jump and do that now and I'll come back after. There are 2 Allens either side of the seat, and the 12mm bolt is at the back. That's all you have to take out to remove the seat. Okay, so the seats are now loosened off. We're just going to pop them off and leave them to one side. You can see then we expose our battery. Now the thing about this battery is I have a feeling it's actually pretty new. I don't see the year in it, but one thing that I would always check as well, so before you decide on it being a battery, you have 2 types of failure to start modes, I suppose. Okay, so the 2 of them being, and I'm just going to sit down, so your 2 modes of failure are quite simple, right? You have a no crank and a no start. No crank being like this. Turn the key in the bike. I'm going to hit the kill switch for now. When you press it, that's a no start. So sorry, yeah, I got them the wrong way around. That's a no start, right? So a no start means that it's cranking but not starting, which means you don't have a spark essentially. Then you have the no crank, which is if you hit the starter button like so and you get nothing, or a cough and then immediately death. Now I know that's actually cranking over now, but when I got this kick-started back up, I actually rode about 140 kilometers, mainly on a motorway back down to here, so there's a likelihood I kind of charged the battery back up a bit and rescued it, and I do ride this bike quite a lot, so you know that battery might be recoverable, which I'm going to try do. But this battery, the Motobat, I got a pretty good deal on, so I said there's no harm in throwing it in. Plus it's a more interesting color, it's yellow, you know. So the next thing you'll need to check whether or not your battery is gone is you're going to need one of these, a multimeter. What's pretty ironic is this multimeter is currently dead, so I actually have to run and get a new battery for it. It was working the other day, but obviously the battery since has died. You can see there it's not happy. But basically, to talk through what we're going to do with it is, when we have the multimeter back functioning, we're going to check the power across the battery terminals, right? So this being a 12 volt battery, everyone expects it to be 12 volts, but not actually the case. So with 12 volt batteries like this, your kind of static charge should be greater than 12 volts, obviously. If your battery goes below that, there is a kind of a scale. So I don't think it says it on this. Doesn't look like it. This does also have higher starting amperage, and I think that might actually be the issue. I don't think this battery is actually suitable for this bike. When I looked into it, it looks to be weaker than the recommended starting amperage. It's 12 amp hours, that one's 15, the one that I bought, which is specifically a replacement for this model. So that could just be the issue as well, that I was getting lucky that it was starting, because up until now it started pretty good, and I was shocked that it didn't start that day, but I've checked everything else over and I don't seem to have any underlying issues, and that's something that you also have to check. So if you have a no crank and no start condition, right, one or the other, if it's a no start, it's not your battery, as long as it's actually cranking consistently and sounds good. If it's a no crank condition, then it could be your battery. But if you check your battery voltage and it's above 12 static and still won't start it, then you probably have something else, whether it's your engine has seized or something more serious, or something less serious. Maybe a wire is simply broken somewhere. Lots of things to check. but don't always immediately blame your battery, and I would recommend checking the battery before you obviously pay the money to change it out. So once I replace the battery in the multimeter, we're going to dive in and check this battery, and I have a feeling it's going to show up as pretty healthy. Obviously the issue that we're going to see is probably that it's just not the correct starting amperage, so maybe when the engine was pretty hot or some such, it just didn't have the power to turn it over. Time will tell. Either way, I'm pretty happy to put in a new battery, because I don't know the history of this battery, how long it was left sitting, etc. If you find your battery going dead a lot, other important points to note obviously are you could have an underlying condition, something that's eating away at your battery life, something that's shorted, like an additional electronic piece that you've added on that doesn't actually turn off with the bike. All of these things can drain your battery. Otherwise you could just not be riding it enough. Obviously to keep a battery charged you do have to ride your bike. All of this, by the way, applies to a regular battery. I've never owned a lithium battery, so I don't know a whole much pile about them. So all that stuff to just bear in mind when you're checking over your bike for a no crank / no start condition. Okay, so we're back and I've gotten a new battery for the multimeter. So we're going to check now across both the new battery and the old one. So what we're going to notice about this is when I measure this, it actually is in spec. And I think the reason for that is, since I found that this was not working properly, I have been riding it quite a lot. And I think it's actually just about holding charge, but I'd say if I was to leave this for a couple of days, it'd be back to the same, not starting. So I just rode this a good bit, and you'll see here now, when we check it, we get about 12.47. So I just had to jump in. 12.47 actually is fine-ish. It's around about 50 to 60% charged. But when I went and checked this battery afterwards, it did lose charge very quickly once I'd taken it out of the bike. So I definitely had dying and or dead cells in this one. So you want your battery to be about 12.7, even if it's been sitting for a few days or whatever. But that's how you static check across the battery terminals. So with my multimeter you have to change it to volts, scale at 20. And that just means that you'll actually be able to visually see up here. If you have it on scale of 2 or 200, it's just harder to read. So you want to use it at 20. And then you want to be connected to the common port and also to voltage / ohms, ohms being resistance. And then use your leads to the positive and the negative to check the battery's voltage. So we're just going to do a quick check on the new battery. You see the new battery is above 12.7, which is kind of where these should be when they're healthy and holding charge. Again, just to reiterate, 12.7, 100% charged, perfectly healthy. If you find your battery's dropping off a lot, you either have a drainage issue or your battery's dead. It won't charge at 12.7 if it's dead. Pop out this, and then this one, and then lift the battery out. Don't think there's anything else holding it in there. Doesn't seem to be. Obviously with batteries, if there's like a build up on it, if you have a bad battery, it's burst, don't get that stuff in your hands, it'll burn you, so don't do that. Also look, Japanese writing, because this is a Japanese original bike. It's kind of funny. Anyway, we'll change it out now. You can see that they're the same size. Contacts are slightly different, so hopefully they fit alright. We'll find out. I'm going to throw it on now. So that's the new battery fitted. I have to say, Motobat, these fittings, like, they're horrendously awkward in comparison to these ones. I would much prefer if you just used the standard fittings. So now what we're going to do, let's check the bike. Dun 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 dun. Seems to be working. So now we have our nice new battery in the bike. There's definitely a few other things I need to check over in this bike, but the main points are, if you feel like you have a battery problem, don't immediately blame the battery. It could be a multitude of other things. So if it's a battery, you'll have a no crank condition. not like you heard there. I think I have an issue with my fueling on this. I don't know, it's a dirty fuel liner, something like that. I'll have to go through it and check it out, but yeah, other than that, that's as easy as they are to change. They're not that expensive, so if you do have a battery problem and a no crank condition, your battery's old and dead, don't worry about it. It's easy fix. It's pretty cheap to fix, relatively speaking anyway, and it's quick. So the one thing to make sure of, so like I was saying, you can see here this battery is rated at 15 amp hours, so your crank. And the old one, which I'm pretty certain is part of the problem, is only rated at 12 amp hours. So the old one actually I don't think is spec'd for this bike. It was just one that fitted. Motobat obviously is in particular, it's for motorbike, so I'm hoping it'll be a lot more secure anyway in the bike and happier. I'm going to hold on to the old battery just in case there's any issues. This is a sealed, non-spillable, maintenance-free battery, which is the only type to get, to be honest. I don't want to be maintaining my battery like that. Absolutely pointless. So yeah, watch out. Obviously, if you do have a battery that's draining a lot, like I said earlier, just check that you don't have a bad wire somewhere. If your battery is draining constantly, it could be bad wire that's grounding somewhere, or you could also have fitted an accessory that's draining your battery when the bike is turned off, but it's not off, so check that as well. Particularly if fitted heated grips or something yourself, could be something to do with it. Other than that, a good indicator is to check your headlights. So those are way brighter now with the new battery, which would give me good confidence the old battery was possibly on the way out anyway, a bit weaker. Someone put these back up, they're trying to kill me. But that's as easy as it is really. So if you've watched, thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe down below. I'll keep doing them. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see changed, I know someone requested to see a fuel pump on a Honda Hornet, so I'm going to try to organise that. But if there's anything else you'd like to see me do let me know, and I'll do my best. And please do share these videos. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. It is proving difficult, so yeah. And I don't know which one of these videos will be out first, but I'm also going to do a history of the Magna video and a 6-month review of this one, so stay tuned for those. Yeah, so until next time, thanks very much for watching. Adios.